The fluorescent lights of the platform hummed, a lonely sound in the dead of night. I just wanted to get home. My day had been a brutal 15-hour marathon of spreadsheets and lukewarm coffee. The digital sign flickered. 11:58 p.m. Right on time. The train glided into the station, a sleek, modern bullet, eerily clean and completely empty. A private ride home? I wasn't going to complain. I stepped aboard, the doors hissing shut behind me with a soft final click. I sank into a seat, the plastic cool against my tired back, and pulled out my phone. A chime, soft and melodic, echoed through the carriage. The automated voice, a smooth, calming female tone, announced, "The next station is Silent Creek." I frowned. Silent Creek. I'd ridden this line for 5 years. There was no station with that name. Must be a new stop, I thought, or maybe a system glitch. I shrugged it off and went back to scrolling through memes. Train picked up speed, a silent blur outside the window. A few minutes later, another chime, arriving at Willow's End. Again, a name I'd never heard. I looked up from my phone, a prickle of unease starting to crawl up my spine. That's when I noticed them. The train wasn't empty anymore. I don't know where they came from. One moment I was alone, the next, every seat was filled. Men and women, young and old, all dressed in simple gray clothes. But it wasn't their sudden appearance that chilled me. It was their posture. Every single one of them had their head bowed low, hands clasped tightly in their lap, as if in silent, desperate prayer. No one looked up. No one spoke. The air grew heavy, thick with a silent, collective sorrow. I could feel their despair, a tangible weight pressing down on me. Next station. The Whispering Bridge, the voice announced. Still just as calm, just as pleasant. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was wrong. This was all wrong. I stood up, my legs feeling shaky. "Excuse me," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Does anyone know where we are?" No response. Just the silent, bowed heads and the rhythmic clatter of the train on the tracks. I walked to the end of the car, my reflection a pale, scared face in the dark window. The scenery outside was just a black void. No city lights, no familiar landmarks, nothing. I fumbled with the emergency door release. Locked. Solid. I pulled and pushed, my panic rising with every failed attempt. I tried the button to speak to the driver. Nothing. Just dead silence. I was trapped. Trapped in a metal tube with a congregation of ghosts, hurtling through the dark 2 stations that didn't exist on any map. My breath came in ragged gasps. I was pounding on the glass now, shouting, but my voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the other passengers. The train began to slow. Another chime. But this time, the voice was different. Automated recording. It was a crackle of static, a distorted guttural whisper that seemed to come from the walls themselves, from the very air I was breathing. It spoke, and the words froze the blood in my veins. It said, "Next stop, the place you never apologized." The train shuddered to a halt. The doors hissed open, revealing not a platform but a swirling gray mist that seemed to call my name. The train rattles on, a rhythmic clatter on unseen tracks, but we're not moving through any landscape I recognize. It's just endless, inky blackness outside the windows. The only light comes from the dim, flickering bulbs overhead, casting long, dancing shadows that make the empty seats look occupied. I'm the only one here, at least I think I am. The air is cold, heavy with the smell of rust and damp earth, like a long-abandoned tunnel. I try the door to the next car, but it's locked solid. My heart thuds against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the train's steady rhythm. Then, with a screech of metal on metal, the train begins to slow. A stop? Out here, in the middle of nowhere? The blackness outside the window wavers, then solidifies into a scene. It's my old office years ago. I see a younger version of myself, slick hair, cheap suit, talking to my old boss. David. I'm smiling, nodding, feeding him a story about a project I sabotaged, blaming it on my colleague Sarah. I watch as David claps me on the shoulder, congratulating me on my honesty. The memory hits me like a physical blow. I'd buried it deep. The train lurches forward again, and the office dissolves back into darkness. My breath catches in my throat. This isn't just a train. This is something else entirely. We slow for another stop. This time, the window shows a rainy street corner. It's me again, breaking up with Anna. I see the words leaving my lips. Hollow promises about staying friends, about it not being her fault. But I remember the real reason. I was bored. I wanted something new, and I was too cowardly to tell her the truth. The image of her face, streaked with rain and tears as I walk away, is burned into my mind. The scene vanishes. The train picks up speed. Stop after stop, the journey becomes a sickening slideshow of my life's worst moments. The friend I betrayed for a promotion, the money I borrowed from my parents and never paid back, pretending I'd forgotten. Each lie, each act of selfishness, played out in perfect, horrifying detail. My stomach churns. I want to look away, to shut my eyes, but I can't. It's like being forced to watch the highlight reel of my own damnation. With each stop, a subtle change occurs inside the car. After the scene with Sarah, I hear a faint dripping sound. Drip, drip. After the memory of Anna, a puddle forms under a seat across the aisle. Now, the floor is slick with grimy water, and the air smells like a rain-soaked graveyard. And I'm not alone anymore. Figures begin to appear on the seats, their forms coalescing out of the shadows. One by one, they sit up, their movements slow and unnatural, like puppets on strings. They're all soaked to the bone, water streaming from their hair and clothes, forming rivulets on the grimy floor. I stare, frozen in terror, as they slowly, so slowly lift their heads. My blood runs cold. It's Sarah. But her face is older, etched with lines of disappointment, her eyes hollow. She smiles, a wide, unsettling grin that doesn't reach her eyes. Another one turns. It's Anna, her skin pale and waterlogged, that same vacant smile plastered on her face. Every passenger, someone I wronged, someone I lied to. They're all here, dripping, smiling, their gazes fixed on me. The train car is filled with them now, a silent, drenched audience to my private hell. The only sounds are the dripping water and the chugging of the train. I want to scream, but my throat is tight with fear. A door at the far end of the car slides open with a pneumatic hiss. A figure stands silhouetted against the light from the next car. It's the conductor, his uniform crisp and dark, his face hidden in shadow. He takes a slow step into the car, his polished shoes splashing in the murky water on the floor. His voice, when he finally speaks, is calm, deep, and echoes with an ageless authority that chills me to my very soul. Tickets are paid with truth, he says, his words cutting through the silence. Yours is overdue. He holds out a gloved hand, and in his palm isn't a ticket puncher, but something that glints darkly in the dim light. The doors hiss open, and I stumble out onto the platform. But it's not a platform. It's my front porch. The same creaky wooden boards, the same chipped white paint on the railing. But everything is wrong. The wood is rotted, splintered, covered in a thick layer of gray dust and dead leaves. The garden is a tangled mess of weeds, choking the life out of the rose bushes my wife used to adore. My home looks abandoned, like no one has lived here for 20, maybe 30 years. Cold dread, heavier than anything I've ever felt, settles in my gut. This can't be real. I turn back to the train. The conductor is there, his smile gone, replaced by an unnerving stillness. His eyes, now completely black, seem to absorb the last rays of the dying light. This is your final destination, he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the rotting floorboards beneath my feet. Or perhaps it's just the beginning. My heart hammers against my ribs. What is this? What have you done to my home? I stammer, my voice barely a whisper. He doesn't answer my question. Instead, he points a long, skeletal finger toward my front door. Your family is waiting, he says. They're not the same. Time is a funny thing for those left behind by a liar. My hand trembles as I reach for the doorknob. It's cold, unnaturally so. I push the door open, and the smell hits Mitha, a stench of decay, of dust, and of something else. Something like old, forgotten memories. Inside, the furniture is draped in white sheets, like ghosts in the gloom. The air is thick, suffocating. I can hear a faint sound from upstairs, a soft, rhythmic creaking like a rocking chair. I call out, "Honey? Kids?" My voice cracks, swallowed by the oppressive silence. The creaking stops. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, echo from the top of the stairs. It's not the sound of my wife's light tread or my children's boisterous running. It's a heavy, dragging sound. A figure appears at the top of the landing, silhouetted against a dusty window. It's a woman, but her form is stooped, her hair long and white. As she shuffles into a sliver of moonlight, I see her face. It's my wife, but aged, her skin wrinkled and her eyes hollow, vacant pits of sorrow. You came back," she rasps, her voice like dry leaves skittering across pavement. We waited. For so long, we waited. My legs give out and I collapse to my knees. This is a nightmare. This has to be a nightmare. They don't just poison you. They poison everything you love. He gestures back toward the open train car. You have a choice. It's one last chance for a kind of honesty. He holds out his hand. Confess. Confess every lie, every betrayal, right here, right now. Pour out the poison, and you can step off this train for good. You can walk into that house and live out what remains of your broken reality. It won't be the life you had, but it will be yours. He then points into the dark, empty carriage. Or there's another option. You can get back on the train. You'll be one of us, a passenger. Your purpose will be to help us find others. The liars, the cheats, the secret keepers. You will ride these rails for eternity, collecting souls just like yours. You will see their worlds crumble, just as you've seen your own. Your lies will finally have a purpose. My mind is reeling. Stay here, in this decayed mockery of my life, with a ghost of the woman I loved. Or become a phantom myself, a collector of broken people, forever bound to this cursed train. One is a prison of regret, the other an eternity of damnation. My deception had always been about avoiding consequences, but now the bill has come due, and the price is my very soul. The conductor waits, his hand outstretched, the whistle of the train a mournful promise of what's to come. What would you do? For more late-night nightmares, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Bloody Chapter. Let us know in the comments. Would you jump off? Drop a train emoji if you dare.